the video appears, it's always pleasant to see this view. So I don't know, is it the system? Don't let me know. Is it the system that makes it go that way? I think we put it this way. Is it is it okay? I'm going to be careful here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let this mic stay somewhere here. Now you need to watch. Watch. Is this okay? As soon as you can hear me, let me know. Welcome to the live. We are live. There's a lot that goes into content creation, into communication. It takes a lot of commitment. So, welcome to this live. Let me know where you are watching from. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know where you're watching from. Everyone joining in. As soon as you're able to drop a comment, kindly drop a comment. Okay. Is this audio good? Is it good? Make it this way. Is it good? Okay, I may have to hold it. Hold it. Let me know as soon as you are able to join in. Welcome to the live. We are live. Hello, Sai. Sai, forced to drop a chat. Welcome. Welcome to the live. Thank you for tuning in. Where are you watching from? Sai says, hello. Hi, Sai. Thank you for the like. It's good to have you here. Hope I'm audible. Wow, watching from Abuja. That's interesting. Okay, so this is a good time for the Nigerian audience. All right, Abuja. Interesting. Last time I was in Abuja was in October last year. Wow. So how is Abuja today? Sai, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for engaging. I welcome you all to this live. Thank you for tuning in. Please let me know where you are watching from. Okay, Abuja is good. What's the weather like? You know, when I came in October, moving from Lagos, on the flight, and then everywhere was cool until we landed. I saw that was not my first time in Abuja, but I saw the difference in the significant difference in the weather. Okay, so it was a bit hot around that time. Of course, I had to remove my suit now. Okay, that particular day. So what's the weather like? And it's rainy season in this part of the world. And how is it been? How has it been in Abuja? I think it rained yesterday in Lagos, some parts today. All right. Thank you for joining in. Please, if you are yet to subscribe to the channel, if you just came across the channel, kindly subscribe and I'm sure from there we can get to connect better, and you get to interact with more members of the community. This is a healthy community. We talk about health matters, and then, of course, we um, are interested in preventive health, preventive medicine, and then we look at mental health, we consider reproductive health, of course, management of chronic medical conditions. Those are areas that we really look at. And then looking at statistics all over the world, increasing rates of chronic medical conditions, irrespective of race, location, irrespective of your status. You know, different people in different parts of the world are dealing with one medical condition or the other. Okay, so if you are here today and you are free of any kind of medical ailment or condition, then you should give thanks to God, and then be sure to keep up with a healthy lifestyle, which is something that is your own and my own responsibility. God has his part, and he will definitely do that. Oh, thank you. Sai says I did. Oh, you mean you've been subscribed? Are you an old subscriber, or you just subscribed? Kindly let me know in the chat. You mean you already a subscriber? You've been a subscriber, not a new subscriber, right? Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so that's interesting. So why have we been missing each other? It seems it's been a while I've seen you on my live, or even maybe a comment on any of the videos. Okay, I know we have different schedules and demands of work, life, family, you know, different obligations sometimes that one may not be able to be everywhere every time. Okay, but I know that because of the differences in time zones too, people in different parts of the world are able to join in at different times. All right, I know it should be about afternoon in the United States. Okay, so sometimes I push live sessions to midnight, early mornings, where most people in the United States are awake. Okay, that's talking about majority of the audience. That's like the number two when it comes to the numbers of subscribers to the channel. Of course, Nigeria, is it Nigeria that tops the list, or US? All right. So, but that means that when I come up live around 1 a.m., 2 a.m., only people who are night crawlers, or what do we call them, who are still awake around that period, or early risers, are the people that are able to join in from Nigeria or some other African countries. Okay, but for people in the United States, some European countries are able to join in as they are usually in the afternoon or early evenings. Okay, sometimes it's late evenings, and they're able to join in. So I think that's one of the reasons, the differences in time, and the time where the live streaming is taking place. So Sai says, I will be back. Okay. We'll be glad to have you back. Okay, thank you for joining in. If you are just joining us, let's know where you are watching from. I'm glad to have you here. Thank you for joining in. Are you an old subscriber? Are you an old member of the community, or a new member? Let me know. Is this your first time you are you are coming into this, coming across this channel, into this live stream. Okay, let me read this. Maria Clara is here. Welcome, Maria. Maria says back, hello, light you, the light you, the gold, yes. Okay, okay. Okay, are you referring to the lighting? Maria, are you referring to the lighting? Is it good? You mean the lighting is good? Or let me get that clearly. Welcome, Maria. Maria, where are you joining from? Let's know. Let's know in the chat. Let me know where you are watching from. Glad to have you here. Are you subscribed to the channel, or this is your first time coming across the channel? Kindly subscribe. We'll be looking at a very important topic this time, and I will be welcoming questions. If you have any question relating to the topic, that would be interesting. I will gladly take your questions. Back, hello, light you, the gold. Gold, yes. Okay, okay. Welcome back, Maria. And Lovett is here. Hello, Lovett. Good evening from this side. Where are you watching from? Thank you for joining in. So it's a pleasant evening on your side too, right? I believe you are joining in from Nigeria or any other country on this side. So how have you been? Yes, Lagos. Thank you. I can see Lagos well represented, and interestingly, I'm streaming live from Lagos. Maria Clara says you. Okay, thank you so much for the wonderful feedback, Maria. Maria, have you ever felt tired? Love it. Have you ever felt tired? Or do you even experience recurrent tiredness? Always tired. Sometimes some people say it that way. I've come across patients or clients in different ways at different times, who complain about feeling tired. Interestingly, some uh, present it like a recurrent experience. And when they come in, of course, they go through the necessary steps when it comes to um, taking a history, exploring things around their complaints, and then doing necessary examinations, running necessary investigations, of course, going through proper um, counseling, education, and then clarification about their complaints and the way forward. So tonight, from this side, is night, it's evening. So we're going to be talking about why you always feel tired. Okay. Okay. Lovett says yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So at one time or the other, as an adult, you definitely would have felt tired at one time or the other. People express that in different ways. Some people talk about being tired physically, others talk about being tired of other people or other persons' um, personality or attitude, different ways by which people express that statement, different meanings to it. Okay, but we're really looking at physical tiredness. Of course, there can be a mental fatigue that can also uh, be reflected in a physical experience, or a physical fatigue affecting a mental state. All right, so those are the different ways that we can have it. All right, so but there's a way you feel when you have energy, you are full of energy, you are able to do the things that you want to do, and it's usually very interesting when you're able to fulfill your goals, accomplish the task that you have, whether personal or family or religious or career, business. You feel good with yourself. that you are able to achieve your goals, you're able to get things done. Okay. I usually ask this question: how much can you do with a weak body, a weak mind, or even a weak spirit? Okay. If you consistently or you persistently experience stress or feeling of tiredness, fatigue, you wouldn't be able to do much. All right. So we know the importance of energy. If you have ever felt so energized, I mean, you have accomplished a lot. But if you have felt weak at any time, I'm sure you also know you can talk about the difference. And which one would you prefer? Which one do you actually prefer? The times when you were feeling so weak, unable to move from your bed, sleeping extra hours, even sleeping yet, still not feeling energized, waking up, still feeling tired, feeling weak. I've come across patients who have had these complaints at different times. Say they slept, they feel they slept well, enough time to sleep, but waking to still feel tired, feeling weak, unable to get up with that energy that is required to face the day. All right, so Maria is here again saying, "Hi, hello, Maria. Maria, where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? Let me know in the chat. Where are you watching from? Welcome. If you are just joining us, let's know where you are watching from. Remember to double tap on your screen to like the live. Please confirm that you can still hear me. I hope I'm audible. Please, can you hear me? Hope I'm still audible. Am I audible? Kindly confirm that you can hear me. Okay, maybe there's a delay in the chat. Let me check. Let me know if you can hear us and if you can see my video clearly. Maria, are you still there? And then Love It. I believe you can see and you can hear me clearly. All right. So sometimes even you hear a child or children talk about feeling tired. Okay, so at different stages in life, people experience that feeling of tiredness, whether it's after playing a match of football, or it may even be as something that happens in the home, as cooking in the kitchen as a woman or even a man. Okay, doing the laundry, uh, finishing work in the office. People have different times that they experience this and then complain about it. Okay, some people may think that, oh, this is laziness. Why is this person always talking about feeling tired? All right, so but the fact is that you cannot deny how you feel, and that's very important, especially when you have to interact with your doctor. I believe that the doctor's office is a place where you should be expressive. You should be able to um, bear your mind, let your voice be heard. Okay, let your complaints be noted. Okay, it's not a place to shrink. The doctor's consulting room is not a place to feel weak or feel uh, inferior or lose confidence or whatever it is that your personality may feel like. The important thing is you get the results from your interaction with your doctor. So you need to be expressive to let your doctor know your symptoms and every concern that you may have. Of course, your doctor will be asking questions that will help you to respond relation to in line with the area of interest. I mean, areas of possible diagnosis. All right. So it's usually a signal. Feeling tired or fatigue is usually a signal that something is happening somewhere. All right. Something happening somewhere. And it's usually an opportunity to check. It's an opportunity to uh, retire. I mean, to retire, to refire. I mean, to get your balance back before you continue. But sometimes people tend to ignore those moments of tiredness instead of doing the needful. Some people try to push it, they try to continue the work, they try to um, do what ordinarily they shouldn't be doing if they were not well positioned, rested to do. All right, so you find someone collapsing at a point just because they just got exhausted, losing energy, lacking energy enough for whatever task they are on, or even um, from hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, and even dehydration. Okay, we'll be looking at some of the causes of fatigue while you may be feeling tired. I will pick it up from this. The fact is that if you are not well hydrated, dehydration is one uh, possible and major cause of fatigue or feeling of tiredness. Do you know that this is usually overlooked, ignored by most people? But people wonder what has water got to do? Interestingly, water has so much to do with you, your life, your body, even your mood. The body is made about 70% of water. And imagine that that usually there are losses as I'm talking to you, losing some water, what we call insensible water loss from respiratory activities, sweat, from, of course, passing urine, different ways by which we lose water. So if you are not replacing those losses and you get dehydrated, your cells will cry and begin to cry for help. Okay, they are not able to actually function as they should. Your cells, the cells in your body, are not able to function as they should, when you are not well hydrated. So dehydration is one common cause. In fact, it can be the cause of a headache, can be the cause of abdominal pains, low mood. You can begin to lose concentration because you are not well hydrated. So if you ask yourself, am I really taking water well enough? Many times we hear this. You've heard it a million times that water is life, right? And then water is good for you. Okay, if you are just joining in, let me know where you are joining from. And thank you for joining in. I will really appreciate if you can let me know where you are joining from. Okay, let me know where you are joining from. Okay, the lighting, the reflection is going to be much. Maria, are you still here? Maria, Lovett, Sai. So one question is, how often do you experience tiredness or this feeling of fatigue? How often do you experience it? How often do you experience it? I hope you can still hear me. So let me know if you can still hear me. Let me know. Am I audible? Sure. Am I audible? Okay, let me check here. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat what is it that you have been able to identify as a cause of feeling of tiredness for you. The feedback helps to know whether I'm talking to you or I'm just talking to myself. So let me know if you can hear me, please. Thank you. So I believe you can hear me now. So I'll just continue. Okay. All right. So I was talking about the place, the role that dehydration plays in feeling of tiredness or fatigue. All right. So if you are not hydrating well enough, and how do you know? Of course, I've mentioned some symptoms like a headache. Headache is just a symptom that can be caused by many things or many conditions. Okay, abdominal pains also. But if one is interacting with a doctor, as I'm telling you right now, you need to check yourself and be sure that you are taking well enough. One of the ways that your doctor will want to know if you are drinking water well enough, even if you say you are, is to probably check your tongue and ask you to bring out your tongue. I mean, check for a sign of dehydration. All right. So, but before you get there, you need to check yourself. Like, how many cups of water have you taken today? How many bottles of water have you taken today? Do you even remember waking up to take water? Do you remember waking up to take water, or you uh, just found out that you started taking tea and then maybe some 1 or 2 cups of water since the day began? All right, so that's not a good way to live. We have to be intentional. You have to be intentional about your health, and it's just about habits, it's about lifestyle, it's about what you know you should be doing, and then committing to doing it or doing those things that are important for you to live a healthy life. Okay, so it's not just automatic, it's not magic. Okay, that you say, oh, thank God for God, thank God for the spiritual, thank God for God's commitment, thank God his promises of health, healing, health for us. God has done his part, and I keep saying that, and he will definitely remain faithful. But you as an individual, you have your part to play when it comes to living a healthy life, when it comes to how you feel in your body, when it comes to sometimes how you think. Hey, Mama Didi is here. Good evening, Didirati. Okay, it's going to mirror this way. Okay, welcome. I welcome you specially, Didi. Thank you for joining in. How was your day, and how is the prince? I like to ask about him, you know, handsome boy there. Okay, so it's good to have you here. We're talking about feeling tired always. Have you ever felt tired? I don't know if that's a good question to ask. All right, but at one time or the other, every adult, even children, talk about being tired. Have you ever heard a child say, I'm tired, I'm tired? Tired of what? Tired of food, tired of playing, tired of reading. It could be tired from anything. So at one stage or the other, um, each and every one of us has experienced this and expressed this. Okay, so whether it's physical or it's mental or it's emotional tiredness, people just feel tired. tiredness at work, from work overload. All right. So, but this time we started talking about the aspect of hydration. Dehydration is one factor, one factor that you can identify as a cause of tiredness. It's simple, it's usually overlooked. People think they are even drinking enough. So the question is, are you taking at least 3 liters of water in 24 hours? So you have to be intentional. You have to take responsibility. Waking up in the day, you've heard it many times. Say wake up, of course, pray to God, say your prayers. Even before you start praying, I hope God will not say, "Oh, why is your mouth smelling?" Of course, God will not say that. All right, but it refreshes you when you are able to take a glass of water, a cup of water, two cups, two glasses. It, even if it is, some people talk about warm water, that's fine. It does something to your body because over the night you have already fasted, fasting from food, fasting from water. And some people, of course, sometimes uh, get to use the bathroom, like have to urinate 2 times at least once over the night, and then that way you have also lost some water. So it's not strange, it's not a sin to actually get some water, even if it is during the night. But we talk about some other things around this. All right. So Didi says, when I fight every day with this young man, of course, I'm tired, laughing out loud. Right now, we just had another fight. Oh, so sorry about that. It's just about the season, being a toddler, right? And, the fact that they have that peculiarity in personality and experience and life, understanding of life, the little understanding they have, you know, is growing, and I'm sure it will blend and you will enjoy. Didi says, yes, you are right. I always sleep with water by my bedside. Fine, that's great. And then I wake up to drink water in the morning. But doc, does it apply to kids too? My baby loves to drink water too. Yes, it applies. Of course, a child may not take as much as an adult. Okay, say around 2 liters, but sometimes this is found in food. Some food, definitely from cooking, water is there. Then for children, sometimes they take cereals, pap. You give them those fluidy meals. Sometimes they have more water also from those food sources or food preparations that you give to them. All right. So they may not take definitely as much as an adult would. All right. So, but when a child is drinking water, just have to check it. There are some other conditions. There are conditions that can make a person to drink water excessively. Well, that's different. Okay. But when one is taking water ordinarily just to replace, that is a very good habit. All right, so it should be encouraged if a child is drinking water. But have you seen children also going for those sweet drinks, sweetened drinks, soda, yogurt, all kind of drinks, because those ones are tasty. Okay, so if a child is going more for those things, you have to watch, you have to be careful, you have to uh, put some control, some measures to ensure that the child is not trying to replace water with those drinks. And you won't encourage that as a mother or as a father. Okay, so but it's always good. Sometimes I've come across um, children, young ones, that complain about abdominal pain, and by the time you ask questions around everything, you can really, really not find anything that could be responsible other than the fact that this individual is not taking water well enough. I hope you get me, Didi. So there are so many ways by which people can get to feel tired. Okay, I can see. Yes, you say that, but yes, applies to kids. My baby loves to drink water too. Very good. Water has so many benefits. I was just talking about the fact that it helps to the cells to function well. And the human body is made up of cells. That's the basic unit. And different parts will function well as long as the cells in those parts are functioning well. Even the blood flow is better with hydration. And then when it comes to other benefits, even the skin, you can glow better when you are well hydrated. In fact, signs of dehydration can be checked on your skin. On your skin, if you have seen a doctor walk around a patient that has been vomiting or stooling, part of what we check, apart from checking the tongue or the lips, is to check the skin, especially the abdominal area, and then other areas that can be checked to be sure that this person is it the level of dehydration. Okay, so it's a very important thing that we need to note. And Didi says he loves pap. He loves pap and Adley cereals or soda and those other ones. Okay, I could buy a carton and we won't finish it in 6 to 7 months. So that's interesting. All right, so that's a good one, and that's a good way to train him. So well done, Didi. It's a lot of work. I mean, being a mother and still doing career and all, it's a lot of work, and we celebrate you. Okay. And then I was talking about the fact that people tend to overlook this. I was talking about the need to begin to measure. The need to begin to measure. I put up a poll recently for people who desired a change. What would they want to be changed, this week? And quite greatest percentage actually chose to hydrate more. So that means people know that they are not taking water well enough. So if you know that, then what you need to do is to change. Is to change. You just have to get that bottle. You just have to, it's just by just what Didi has said, that she has a bottle, she has water by her side, she sleeps with water by her side. So it makes it easy, to pick and take and to drink. All right. So if you consciously do this, bring water around you, take water with you as you go out, so that there's no excuse. Some people say, okay, I don't want to drink any other type of water outside my environment. So why don't you go along with your own bottle of water? That goes a long way. And that's what I do. In my consulting room, I'm always as much as possible with water on my table. Carry water everywhere as much as possible. Water is life. And if you are not drinking, so what else? What do you want to drink? All right. So that's a very foundational one there. The next thing we should be looking at is lack of sleep. Maybe not lack of sleep. Interestingly, I've seen patients who come into the consulting room and say, Doctor, I've not slept at all. I've not slept for, I said, slept at all? You mean you've not slept at all? For how long? Is it for 3 4 days? I say, wow, 3 or 4 days. And maybe the individual is not actually talking about not closing their eyes at all for 3 to 4 days, but the fact is that they've not experienced that quality, that sense of uh, achieving quality sleep. Not just sense of it, but knowing from within, and then from the effectiveness at task and work, that, oh, I really had a good rest. Of course, there's a feeling that you get when you wake up, and you feel refreshed, you feel energized. There's a renewal that takes place. Okay, so I need to take some water now. Thank you. So you just saw that I had some water just right beside me. All right. So you can see how important it is. So I was feeling my throat um, getting irritated and all, but better now. And if your throat is getting dry, for especially for content creators, Didi, I hope you can hear me, and other content creators that are online, or you may be watching this after at the end of this live, you know, if you are not taking water well enough, it can affect your voice, can affect your energy level. The same way, if you're not eating well enough, you're not eating adequately. Okay, thank you for the fourth like. I appreciate it. Thank you. And if you are just joining in, everyone who has come in and yet to like the live, kindly double tap on your screen, and that way the system will recognize that people are engaging on this live. So thank you for that. And interestingly, for people that joined in earlier, we were able to talk about the different locations that people are watching from. So if you are yet to drop your location, let's know where you are watching from. And I'm glad that we have a number of people from the Nigerian community joining in. Most times I go late into the night, early mornings, and that favors uh, people in the United States and other regions with different time zones more. So just try to see how to make a balance on this. And by the way, if you are yet to know, we have weekends for our question and answer session. I mean, this days, Saturday, Sunday, committed to answering questions, answering your questions. Okay, so I think you should see this as an opportunity where we can be a bit more personal in quotes, and then help more people to understand some of these health matters. All right. So thank God for Google. Thank God for ChatGPT. Thank God for different platforms that people can access information. Okay, but sometimes some of this information are general, but we can interact better on a personal note. So Didi says, let me get to the chat. Didi says, I feel like I need to sleep more as a person. Tell me more. For me, I enjoy sleeping in the mornings, like from 2 a.m., but I have to be up for work and school runs at 5 a.m. That's serious. And then, school will be starting this Monday, right? Next week. So, if you have not maximized the holiday period for achieving good sleep, then you have some work to do. All right. So, if you are going to, yes, I need to mention this. If you are going to be effective even at your workplace, at work, your business, in other commitments that you have, you must take this issue of sleep serious. I mean, seriously, you must take it as important as it is. Now, one of the things that God has helped us to understand is that rest is important. So, and then after all that God had done, remember the Bible talks about God and God rested. So, if you are going to just be like God, at least that way you should ensure that you are not only working because God kept working, but you are also finding time to rest. So that's one way to be a good child of God. Yes, that's one way to be a good child of God. All right. So we must learn to balance. So sometimes that's why sometimes you're not seeing me, apart from the demand of work, so many obligations. You're not seeing me come up live every time, uploading videos every time, because I also care about myself, and I need to be a responsible doctor. I mean, not just caring for others, but I must be sure that I'm caring for myself. So sleep is an important thing for me too. You know, I do so much at night. I mean, I like to work at night, so even sleeping during the day Like some people will say it's not my thing, but of course there are times that I have to be intentional. I say, oh, let me catch 30 minutes, 1 hour of rest during the day, and that helps a lot. But for the night, if you and I had someone say this some days ago, and if you know you have experienced this, that's the fact. If you try to deprive yourself of the uh, number of hours or the quality of sleep that you are supposed to get, you will find out you will need to pay for it. There's something called sleep debt. Debt, yes, DEBT. Sleep, DEBT. Sleep, DEBT. Like you are owing. So some people are owing. I don't know whether Didi is actually owing about 7 weeks of of sleeping hours. All right. So, but there's a way your body will will definitely ask for it, whether during your work, I mean, during your activities in your workplace. So sometimes that's why you find people dozing off at work. I mean, obviously, this person is either not well rested or not eating enough to have energy to work or some other conditions. So, if you are going to avoid getting tired every time, getting fatigued, losing energy, sleep must be taken seriously, not just in terms of the number of hours. We say 7 to 9 hours. If you are in a busy city, if you are a busy executive, definitely you may not be able to do that. That's the fact. Okay, I can't remember the last time I did any 9 hours of sleep. Now I can't. I mean, I can't remember that. I mean, 7 hours. Can't remember that. Okay, 6 hours, try to balance that 5 6 hours. Okay, but if sometimes for one reason or the other I do or you do 4 hours, 3 hours of night sleep, you will find out that for that day or a day following, you won't just be as effective. You may try, you may force it, but as effective as you would have been if you were not deprived of sleep. Okay, so some level of energy is lost when you keep working without resting or sleeping. Let me read the chat. Didi says something that saves me is when I need to okay, put my son to bed, right? I just fall asleep sometimes. But doc, what if the sleep doesn't come even when you're willing to sleep? I wish I could doze off, but I never do. Now it's getting more interesting. Okay, there's something called sleep hygiene, and of course the sleep awake cycle, awake sleep cycle. uh for whatever reason, if you deprive yourself of night sleep consistently, there's a way your body gets dysregulated, begins to change the hormones, means you are disturbing the normal pattern that God has designed for the body to rest. So when you constantly do this, your body is trying to reprogram and say, okay, is it that we need to get more sleep during the day now? Okay, okay, because you can't cheat nature. All right. So if you deprive yourself of that night's rest, have you gone for a video before? I mean, you go for videos for meetings, night meetings, and all. But if you find out that you're doing that and you're not resting well, you will not be able to do some things effectively until you have had that rest well enough. Sometimes it may just be just 1 hour of extra rest or sleep that helps you to get refreshed. All right. So if you say that, oh, you fall asleep, it means, of course, I know you are doing a lot as a content creator, a YouTuber, you're a media person. I don't know how your schedule is. You have to be at work sometimes very early, sometimes leave late. All depends on your schedule or roster. But you have to be intentional in your content creation. Thank God you do more lives. Of course, you do recordings of long form videos. But if you're like some educational videos now, if you are in the educational niche, you know that there's a way you have to communicate uh, whatever you are trying to educate the people about. But if you are not well settled, your body, your mind, your spirit, if everything is not in place, somehow it may affect your flow and the flow in terms of your recording and delivery. All right, even though you know what to do, but on a live, you can still manage live session. You can talk. There's really no structure, so to say, in terms of specific things that you want to deliver. But if you do not ensure that you get, even no matter how busy you are, you get at least 5 hours of sleep, then it may definitely disturb that cycle, and then uh, your body tries to adapt, and it's disturbing a lot. So your body is now getting used to a cycle that is not really the normal pattern, and so you begin to notice that there's something called insomnia, right? That's the inability to achieve or even sustain sleep. So some people are able to uh, get to sleep, they get to sleep, but you just find out that they're waking up in between and they're not able to sleep back. That's the way some people describe it. While for some others, is that they are not even able to get sleep at all until they probably take a medication, whether it's over the counter or prescribed by their doctor. Right. So when you begin to do that, it's already showing that, oh, there is a bit of change in that normal cycle or pattern of sleep. So, but to gain it back now requires that you interact with your doctor. Definitely, you have to stop the things uh, hindering you from getting your normal the normal pattern of sleep. And your doctor will definitely counsel you, help you to understand what you need to do, guide you, and may probably prescribe medications for you. And when that is done, that's to help you to reset. Sometimes if you have heard about melatonin and all, you need to get that reset. So when you do that, you're able to pick up again. But anytime you disturb that pattern, it keeps getting disturbed, and you are not able to sustain the normal pattern. I hope you got that. So now sleep may not be coming for different reasons. There are so many factors that can be responsible for insomnia, including workload, including stress of any kind, physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress. Um, Mention it. Then you can talk about inadequate food intake, hunger. We talk about dehydration, so many other things. Some medical conditions can also be responsible for insomnia. So it's not something pleasant at all. So if somebody is not able to sleep, I mean, it can affect their whole system. It can get them anxious, edgy, can can cause a lot of things. So that's why someone suffering from such a condition needs to see a doctor. You need to see a doctor for proper evaluation, so that whatever it is. Some people even have some organ dysfunction that they may need to be checked and treated for. All right. So thank you, Doc. I really have learned a lot. Let me go and try. Very good. Yeah, welcome, Didi. Welcome. Yeah, welcome. Thank you for coming and doing a screenshot. Thank you for coming. All right, so that's about sleep. I will now talk about sleep hygiene. Actually, when we talk about hygiene, we talk about environment. There's actually a proper environment for you to achieve good quality sleep. Yes, I'm going to say it again. There's a proper environment for you to achieve good and quality sleep. If you don't create that environment, that means you are not having a good sleep hygiene. So part of it includes that you actually have a time that you go to bed. The same way you should have a time that you wake up to your daily activities. So do you have that time? For some people, the 9 p.m., 10 p.m., some people 8 p.m., some people 11 p.m. So it all depends on your choice and your pattern of work and life demand. All right. So, but you should have a time. So that helps your system, with programming, your hormones, everything to work to ensure that that pattern is well maintained. All right. So another thing is some things that you need to put off. For example, the aspect of your device. And thank God for this age of technology. All right. So it's always better to actually put off your device, not necessarily put off or put away your devices at least an hour, 30 minutes to an hour before you go to bed. That saves your brain. It helps keep you away from the blue lights, that affects your sleep. So if you are in the habit of using your phone, sleeping with your phone, I mean sleeping off while you are even scrolling, searching, engaging on different social media platforms, then you are doing it wrong. All right. So you have to be intentional. If you are going to have quality sleep, you should be intentional about putting away your phone. It is actually healthy. So another thing to put off is lights. Lights is better actually to sleep with your lights off. That helps your brain to settle the fact that, oh, there's really likely nothing to be done. But when the lights are still on, it's like sending signals to your brain that there's still something to be done. There's still something to be done. And so that awakeness is there, that alertness is there. All right. So naturally, in the dark, there should be sleep. Sleep should be easier in the dark. Even though some people find it difficult to sleep in the dark, some people prefer lights on. All right. So, but you can try it if you have been having a challenge with your sleep and you usually sleep with lights on. Try it. I'm sure if you have seen a doctor before, you would have been advised to do so. Next thing is to put off taking food 30 minutes, 1 hour before sleep. I mean, eating late is not advisable for you if you're going to avoid, if you want to avoid insomnia and then feeling tired, losing your energy. You should avoid eating late. For an adult, actually 6 p.m., 7 p.m., occasionally 8 p.m. is fair. But if you go into 9 p.m., 10 p.m., say you are taking dinner, you are too late actually. All right. So you need to decide, you need to take responsibility. I'm sure you will see the difference if you decide to change this. If you are already in the habit of eating late, change it and you will notice a lot of difference. There are so many things that come with eating late at night. The tendency to get overweight, obese, risk of developing some metabolic disorders, you know, those are there. And you feel heavy, especially for people that like to take swallow. If you are there, let me know. You take swallow at night, you know, maybe you just feel that, oh, you've not eaten so much during the day, and you get to, you take so much. I've come across patients who say, oh, that's what my wife likes to do. Okay, but you need to talk about this and ensure that you are eating healthy, you are sleeping healthy. And the way we are talking about hygiene, you put it off. So it means you have to be intentional about the time for your meals. You can take your breakfast early, important meal for the day. If you take lunch, very good. And of course, note that you should have your fruits, vegetables, you should have 25% of starch, and then you should have your protein. So at night, avoid eating late at night. That's one of the ways to ensure a good sleep hygiene. Okay. And another one is water. Some people, like, don't forget that we said water is important. I have not forgotten that. But if you drink too much water close to uh, your bedtime, you are likely to wake at night, I mean, over the night, uh, having to use the restroom. You have to frequent the bathroom because your body wants to get rid of the load of water. All right. So we advise that you should take your water from the early morning. I mean, spread it through the afternoon. Avoid late evening or night intake of water. Of course, you should take some water, but not heavy loads of water. And talking about snacking, even if you eat earlier in the day or in the evening, take your dinner early, you should also note that there's nothing wrong in snacking, but snack on fruits, nuts, banana, apple. Those are very healthy things to consume, when you feel like eating at night. Okay. So that's talking about sleep hygiene. So it should not just be in terms of duration, but it should be in terms of the quality. You feel refreshed, you feel energized. So you should take note of that. What next? We've talked about need for water, we've talked about sleep. Of course, we need to talk about diet. If you are skipping meals, you are wrong. That's one of the reasons why you may be feeling tired, except you are fasting. But if you uh, are taking responsibility, taking your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, you shouldn't be experiencing any weakness. Of course, if you overeat, if you load too much, then you can also feel tired because your body is doing a lot of work. I mean, blood is rushing to your tummy, to your stomach to uh, do all the needful in processing your food or your meal. Now, if you do not take well enough, I mean, you already target for tiredness, fatigue, recurrent tiredness and fatigue. All right. So you have to be intentional about eating. You shouldn't really wait till you are hungry before you eat. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Let me know if you think otherwise. If you are just joining us, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Welcome. And if you have been here, let me know if you can hear me, if you have been following. Okay, I hope you can hear me. So, food is important, and that's an understatement. You cannot talk about uh, feeling energized without talking about eating adequately, nourishing, and healthy. So, you need to take note of that. Then, your food, talking about healthy plates, you should be conscious of vegetables and fruits. That should be actually a daily thing. But people try to excuse it for one reason or the other. But you have to be intentional. If you're talking about living healthy, talking about having strength, energy enough for your life activities, you need to eat well. Of course, starch is important, but don't overload on starch. Don't overload on starch. Don't lack protein in your food. Protein is very important. All right. So that's that about food. Next point, when it comes to feeling tired, why you always feel tired, it may be due to uh, stress actually. We've mentioned this, and when I put up that poll some weeks ago, some people actually mentioned that trying to um, deal with stress, and the fact that stress in Nigeria, for example, the most common complaint that people have people feel stressed. Okay, and there are different causes of this. So, and one common one is the physical, the need to get things done, make ends meet in quotes, and then people all out doing business, doing one project or the other, a lot of work. But stress can actually affect, especially when the person in focus is also not eating adequately, not drinking well. Eating may even be there, but consumption of processed meals, processed foods, fried foods, sodas, if those are the common and frequent meals or food types that the individual is taking, then the individual may experience fatigue. Okay, so stress causes increased level of cortisol, and this puts the body at danger of developing hyperglycemia, even diabetes mellitus. So you need to put some caution to yourself when it comes to how you handle your body in terms of the physical. Do as much as you can, of course. Hard work pays, definitely, but the grace of God, the blessing that comes upon whatever you do, I mean, correctly, with your heart, um, will definitely get blessed. So pray that whatever you're doing, you should be doing more, of course, doing enough, but don't overwork yourself. And for people that can delegate, learn to delegate. There are things that you need to talk about prioritizing. Some things are important, not urgent. Some things are urgent but not important. Know the things that are important and also urgent. Know the things that are not urgent and not important. So you need to be able to qualify and then attend appropriately. Okay, you can't be everywhere every time. You can't actually do everything every time. So you need to know what to do per time and put your caution, some caution to it. So if you're a content creator, for example, we talk about having a schedule for your work. You have a plan for recording, sitting in front of the camera, or you have time scheduled for editing your videos, time for uploading. But in doing all that, there are other aspects of your life that you need to pay attention to. So if you don't ensure that work life balance, your body will help you to balance somewhere, sometime in the hospital. I'm not talking about you, Didi. I'm talking generally that for a person that experiences stress and then keeps going, may experience burnout and will definitely need some assistance in the hospital, some support to get back. Okay, so if you don't want to get to that extreme or extent of need for care, then you need to give necessary breaks to yourself. What are the trigger factors for stress for you? What are the things that uh, aggravates or lowers your energy, aggravates pain for you? You need to identify those things and deal with them, put them appropriately, put them in their place, and then do life as you should. So, stress is one major factor. Some people it's not physical stress, it's mental stress. Mental in terms of maybe work, for students, for example, studying for exams, for professional exams, also for workers. You have a project that you need to meet up. These are other ways by which an individual can be stressed. Welcome back, Didi. Didi says, I came back, Doc. Thank you for uh, coming back. Thank you so much. Yeah, welcome once again. I'll just put my phone down and be listening to you while I convince this boy to sleep. Okay, well done, Didi. I don't want to miss out on this lecture from you tonight. Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you for the feedback. I'm glad that you are finding this helpful. All right, so thank you so much. You know, that's just my little way of helping the community, and I always appreciate the feedback. And as we move on, we're learning from one another. So I appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much. All right, so we're talking about stress, and currently you are actually facing some form of stress, and it's a good stress, so to say. Some people are even having the challenge of looking for that kind of stress, looking for a child, for example. Okay, so but God will definitely answer them. It's a form of stress, emotional stress, psychological stress, but this one, physical stress, the demand of your child, emotional aspect, you know it could really be disturbing. So it takes a lot of grace for you as a mother. You need to trust God for strength every time. One thing that happens, I need to share this. Sometimes, some women, maybe a woman that just say being a mother for the first time, maybe has a 3 month old baby, and then little or no support or help in the house, has no relative, no mother in law, anybody around. Husband has to go to work and all. So, and at night, you know what mothers do, especially a breastfeeding mother. Okay, so if such a woman comes and says, "Oh, doctor, I'm not able to sleep well. I'm not sleeping well," of course, it's understandable. It's obvious that that's not likely to happen. Sleeping well, but there has to be a way. The way we involve, for example, such a woman can study the pattern in terms of how the baby gets to sleep when the baby demands. And then with all these different patterns, she can also find a way to enjoy her own rests, maybe around the time that the child is also resting or sleeping. So there has to be a balance, and find a way to do the things that she needs to do before the child wakes up. So definitely the number of hours may not be as much, especially if the woman is still a career person, still has to do some work. Of course, there's something called maternity leave, which is expected. Okay, but for some reason or the other, there's still some demands here and there that the woman may have and may feel stressed. All right, so Didi is having a good kind of stress, okay, but I'm sure you are used to this, and you will definitely pass through this season and pass it well. Well done once again. So, put him to sleep. I'm sure you will enjoy mommy's good support to get to sleep. And when babies sleep, when children sleep, you say sleep like a baby. They really tend to sleep, and sometimes they don't really know what is happening around them. So let him sleep. I'm sure he sleeps for hours, so you can also maximize that period while he's sleeping. All right, so let's move from that point on stress as a factor for feeling tired, getting tired every time or easily, to sedentary lifestyle. Some people don't know that living a sedentary lifestyle is one reason why they may be feeling tired almost every time. I've had uh, patients who have come in at different times who um, talk about this feeling of tiredness, and by the time we check everything around them, with them, nothing really that you can trace as a medical condition that is causing this. You can take it to trace it to a habit of not being active, a habit of inactivity actually. Okay, I'm not really talking about exercise. If a woman has a business, for example, has a store, has employed people to work with her, it's easy for her to sit there and then be calling the workers to pick this, pick that, do this, do that, and herself sitting there for hours. So that's why sometimes you see such women uh, getting overweight, becoming obese, because they are not active. So when you are active, means that you are moving, taking steps, doing one thing or the other. There is a tendency to actually maintain a good weight. I mean, you're also exercising your joints. Your heart is pumping better. Your blood is supplying to different parts of your body. Your joints, are moving. So sedentary lifestyle also affects mood. If you have been if you're someone who has been involved or engaged in some level of physical activity, especially exercising regularly, and you do not do it for some time, you will find out that at some point you may feel yourself not not really feeling that energy level. Okay, so it may just be because you are not as active as you have been. So exercising helps a lot. So many advantages of exercising, and then it helps your mood. Also helps your mood. Helps your mood. Just try. It helps your mood. So mothers are really trying. Oh, let me see this. Okay, I skipped some. I'll just put my phone down. Yes, I read that. Then I remember when I was breastfeeding, maternity leave was not for me. Oh. You're working with a private company, right? It was for baby because I needed to. Okay, you had maternity leave. I needed to breastfeed every 2 to 3 hours. So how many months did they give you at that time? How many months for your maternity leave? Maternity leave. I had to wake him even when he was sleeping. Also because I needed to breastfeed every 2 to 3 hours. It's a lot of work. And then mothers are really trying. Yes, until it was about 4 5 months before we started doing breastfeeding every 4 hours on demand. Wow. Laughing at our dog. I said I would keep my phone and listen or see me typing. Yes. That's a programming. You're already programmed. As content creators, as media person, there's that tendency to wanting to check your phone, type, scroll. That's why you see people moving from one live stream to another, checking one information or the other here and there. And it happens to all of us actually. So, but it takes some discipline to do some things and then avoid some other things at some time. So it's a training. So if you're going to change anything, it has to be some training involved. What you begin to do consistently, becomes your habit. All right. So I'm enjoying your engagement here. You are engaging in the chat, and it's good. Thank you for engaging. I hope your son is sleeping calmly. So thank you for the comments and the questions. So active lifestyle is very important. Very important. Very important. All right. So we'll be moving towards the end of this particular session. Let me look at my notes. Maybe we consider some other reasons why people feel tired every time. We'll be looking at some other reasons, and then that's maybe tomorrow or next. We look at some areas that people may not know, but we can explore those ones too. And it's important to consider interacting with your doctor. If you have any complain. If I've given a lot of information here, and very good information generally, but for people who have specific complaints, you can always get to your doctor. By the way, there's a WhatsApp link that I have on my profile. Um, from popular demand, for popular demand's sake, we had to eventually start immediately so that we can have a more personalized interaction. Some people are already on the group. It's a WhatsApp group. If you are willing to engage more, I mean, um, as a community, that you can join that WhatsApp group. All right. So I don't know if Didi still has a question. I can see like three people on the call. Sometimes maybe more because there's a way the system does not show um, everyone at every time. So let me know if you still have any question, and I hope you really got some things, some points tonight. And if you look uh, through some of the things that we have said, there are things that you have heard sometimes, some of them you have heard them before, but maybe it's from another angle, some other angles, and the need to actually take action. That's very important. You need to take steps to getting the results that you desire. So I want to appreciate everyone who was able to join in. Thank you so much, Didi. Topping the list, Maria, Loveth, and Anna Uju. Thank you all for tuning in. Um, Let me know if you still have any. Okay, I can see your message. Okay, Didi says I got a whole lot. Thank you so much for this session. You're welcome, Didi. I hope I can come up around this time more. Actually, sometimes the algorithm says um, do between 6 and 9 or something like that, 6 and 9 p.m. Sometimes it's just work, and then not able to really fit into that time. So that's why I do early morning. So I'll see how much I can still do and come up um, within this period, and then for people in other time zones, the early morning period, and then we will be engaging more, and that will help us all building a healthy community. Thank you once again. I'll see you again soon. And remember to check those new videos. I mean, I uploaded a long form video, was it yesterday? Please check it out. I'm talking about the top 15 countries that we have longest living people, people that are living healthy and longer when it comes to life. Of course, that's this from statistics generally the world, but people in different places, different countries live even longer than 90 and all. But on the average, these are the numbers. So check out that video and see what those people actually do to ensure that they are adding more years to their life. And with God, we definitely be experiencing this longevity of life. Thank you once again. Bye for now.